President Biden is hosting Ireland's Taoiseach, or Prime Minister, at the White House ahead of St. Patrick's Day. This year, tensions over the Israel-Hamas war may cast a shadow over what has historically been a lighthearted celebration of friendly ties between the two republics. The president welcomed the Prime Minister to the Oval Office just moments ago. Take a look.
I was last in Ireland. Matter of fact, when my family wasn't sure we wanted to come home. It was so nice. Look, it's great to see you again. Great chance to return some of the hospitality that you provided me when I was in Ireland last. And I know there are all kinds of old Irish sayings, but my grandfather Finney used to say, "May the hinge of our friendship never go rusty." He had all these sayings. You know, the Irish in America sometimes think they're more Irish than the Irish. But, and I don't think we're going to let it go rusty. We're vital to each other's economies. We're good friends, and today celebrates 100 years. That's right. 100 years diplomatic relations between Ireland and America. And as far as that friendship goes, it keeps increasing, not diminishing. And I'd argue stronger than ever. Together, we're deep in our economic partnership. There are 300,000. We helped create 300,000 jobs across both our nations. And we're working together to increase humanitarian assistance in Gaza, and we both know that a whole lot more has to be done. And we're standing together to support Ukraine in the face of Putin's onslaught, the savagery with which he's attacking the Ukrainians. And I want to thank you, Leo, for Ireland's unwavering assistance.
You're watching President Biden meeting with Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar in the Oval Office. They reiterated the importance of the relationship between the two countries and spoke about efforts to increase aid to Gaza, saying more needs to be done. ABC News White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks joins me now for more. Mary Alice, support for the Palestinian cause runs deep in Ireland over what many consider as a shared history of oppression and occupation. So how's the White House navigating that today?
Yeah, I think the newsiest part of the day for the Irish Prime Minister will really be the morning. He had a breakfast, very traditional breakfast with the Vice President and second gentleman, and it was there that he made really bold comments congratulating, applauding the Vice President for what he said were powerful words when she seemed to call publicly for a ceasefire. That wasn't exactly what she did. You'll remember, Diane, she sort of paused in her remarks a few weeks ago and said a ceasefire, at least a temporary ceasefire, but she seemed to be pushing the language the administration is using, pushing and adding pressure onto Israel to continue to be working towards any ceasefire, even if it's a temporary ceasefire. And you saw the Irish leader there really standing strongly with her. He said there is a terrible humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in Gaza, a very human tragedy, which I think will haunt us for years to come. I mean, the reality is the United States has been more and more isolated in their in the administration's full support of Israel. We have seen that play out at the UN. We've seen that play out on the global stage. More international partners putting increasing pressure on Israel and, by proxy, on the United States to end this bombardment and this war in Gaza.
Now, Mary Alice, President Biden said an Israeli invasion of Rafah would be a red line. He then later walked those comments back. So how's the White House responding to the Israeli War Cabinet now approving a plan for the next stage of this war?
Yeah, we don't have an official comment yet, but you're right that for the last few weeks, we've heard consistently from the administration this line that they cannot stand with Israel moving into Rafah unless there is a plan that would protect civilians. And they have said over and over from the podium, at the State Department, at the White House, that they have not seen a plan that would do that. I mean, we are talking about a part of Gaza where so many have taken refuge, civilians fleeing other parts and setting up camp there. I mean, millions that are worried about that the United States is worried about their protection, worried about what it would mean if Israeli forces moved in, where so many have taken refuge. And so clearly this has been a dividing line between the United States and Israel. I think it is going to put a lot of pressure on the United States now to respond if it looks again like Israel is defying what the United States said was essentially a red line. The United States saying that they were so uncomfortable with the idea of Israeli forces moving into a part of Gaza where so many were waiting and trying to take shelter.
Now, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is also facing backlash for calling for new elections in Israel. How critical is this issue as President Biden runs for re-election?
I mean, absolutely critical, of course, and it cuts many ways in U.S. politics. I mean, standing with Israel, a key component of a long-standing component of traditional U.S. foreign policy, but obviously we have seen younger voters, progressive voters, Muslim American voters, but not just Muslim American voters, Arab American voters, and others extremely worried about the devastation that they're seeing in Gaza, worried about an unfolding humanitarian crisis, and pushing the president to do more to call for that ceasefire. I mean, we've seen voters in those Democratic primaries in key swing states like Michigan voting uncommitted, trying to send a real protest vote as potential Democratic voters, but saying they are not yet ready to support President Biden unless he changes tact and puts more pressure on Israel to change what they are doing. I think that the White House is very aware the politics of this are very complicated. I mean, taking a step back, Diane, it is incredibly hard for any Democrat to win the White House if young voters are not on board. And the White House is very aware that on this issue in particular, young voters are speaking out.
All right, White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.